We are back live here on the Inside Blitz 2025/26. And it's Ted along with Omar Ruiz of NFL Network. And we really appreciate you joining us, Omar. I love your work. You're all over the damn place, including at camp with me down at Rams camp. And it's going to be an incredible game. I mean, it really is one of the games of the year coming up.
Yeah. Hey, Ted. Yeah. Good to be here. Thank you
Thanks.
for those kind words. And yeah, I'm excited for this showdown. I would say, for all the people at NFL Network, there's probably not anybody who's covered the Rams and the Seahawks combined more than I have.
Oh, good.
And,
Perfect.
and so I feel like it's very appropriate to, finish off the pre-Super Bowl season with
Right.
the Rams and Seahawks at Lumen Field. I was there in 2020 in the COVID game
Yep.
when the Rams and Darius Williams had the pick six to seal it.
Yep.
And the Rams, it was a big upset that day because Jared Goff was hurt and the Seahawks had won the division championship a couple weeks before. I remember they were smoking the cigars and the Rams ultimately had the last laugh in that game. But now, Ted, and you know this, it's a very different setting at that stadium when the fans are there, which they weren't there in the playoff game last time.
Yeah.
But they were raucous. Week 16 a few weeks ago, the Rams have that experience. Obviously, they play there every year, and yeah, what a showdown we're expecting on Sunday.
Yeah, it should be great. And let's talk about your show on NFL Network. The Insiders is the only one that I record regularly, whether you're on it or not, sir. I just really enjoy the show. I think they cover everything from every angle.
Yeah, that's the aim. That's the focus. I
Yep.
think, when you have a show called The Insiders, and I think it's appropriate. It's kind of built around the news nuggets that
Yep.
the news breaking abilities of Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, Mike Garafolo, when you have a show that's built the way that one is, I think we are a show, and it kind of makes us unique in that an NFL general manager can watch it, an NFL player can watch it,
Yep.
an NFL fan can watch it, and all get something out of it. And I think that's a unique ability to touch all of those different audience members, and I think we do a great job with it.
Give everybody an idea, Omar, your schedule this week, which I know you talked to me a couple of days ago at Rams camp and said, I got to be here at this time. I got to be up this time of the day. I got to be back at the studio. I got to be on this show. I mean, really, how crazy is this week?
Very crazy.
With the
Because
breaking news too, right?
yeah. So just to put it in perspective, I also have three little kids. Three
Okay.
girls, 11, 9, and 5, and they're busy
Wow.
with school and activities and all
Sure.
this. So we get a big research packet. So my Monday and Tuesday, I spend a lot of time just kind of prepping. I rewatched the Week 16 game. I rewatched the Week 11 game. On Tuesday nights, we get this big comprehensive research packet from our NFL research team.
Okay.
And for this week, it's 20, 30 pages probably of just different notes on the matchup, on players, on coaches, and all this and that. So on Wednesday, I woke up at around 6 a.m. and because on Tuesday night, I do try to have some personal time. I took my youngest daughter to the UCLA Purdue game. Purdue's
Oh,
number
nice.
4 in the country, and UCLA pulled off the big upset. So
Right.
so I did that, and then so Wednesday, wake up at 6 a.m. Spend about 2-3 hours going through the research bracket. Kind of having a better feel for kind of what these teams are up against on Sunday, and so that way I'm more readily developing the storylines that I'm going to talk about in the pregame show on Sunday. I know which questions to ask. I know I'm going to have access to Sean McVay, Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford that Wednesday in the press conferences with which you were a part. I would have access to the locker room and do, get more angles and storylines. So I'm kind of fully loaded there. And then, so, after we could do the locker room, we were able to get a one-on-one with Kobe Turner, which was great. He's fantastic.
Right. Oh, yeah, he's excellent.
With the media. And so, we aired that on our Championship Wednesday show. It's airing again tonight on our Insiders show.
Good.
And then I did a couple reports on Wednesday from the Rams facility, and then fight traffic on the way back. So then on Thursday, I'm working in studio manning the news desk. And so I had to be there, 6:45 for makeup because the Dolphins were introducing their new general manager, their new head coach. So we aired that press conference live. So we cut in with breaking news. We throw it out to Miami, do the press conference. We wrap it around. We tease the insiders having, more show later. After that, I had to, and this is just completely random. NFL Network is submitting their Emmy submissions, hoping for a nomination, hoping to win some Emmys for the specific submission that I was asked to voice was the Emmy submission for the technical achievements for the NFL draft. And so I'm just reading, the script that they have over the video of all the accomplishments that they did, all the different, audio and visual and graphics that were a part of that show. And so I'm doing all that. And then you mentioned the news updates, and then every hour we have updates on kind of what's happening in the NFL, and the big news that we covered yesterday was Robert Saleh being officially named the coach of the Titans, and then later in the day we had more breaking news with Jesse Minter being named the Ravens' new head coach. So we cut in for that, and then after that shift, essentially the insiders begins, and I have to give more reports on the Rams, and then that was yesterday, and then today get to work, and a little bit more normal. But then I did an appearance on the San Francisco radio station KNBR, which is the home of the 49ers, and they wanted championship Sunday previews, and then I did an appearance on Jacksonville radio station, and same sort of thing, and then now here I am with you, and this is all in between the different news updates on the news of the day, which today is, Phillip Rivers interviewing for the head coaching job of the Buffalo Bills, and the Chiefs officially naming Eric Bieniemy as new offensive coordinator back in his old job. So all of that is going to happen today, and then tomorrow I'll try to get a workout in the morning, fly up to Seattle, and then on Sunday we'll be on the air at 6 a.m. Pacific time, and we have a 6-hour pregame show.
Wow!
I'll have the Rams angle for reports, all morning. Stacey Dales will be with the Seahawks, and we'll even have Kurt Warner, who's one of the main NFL Game Day morning hosts. He'll be in Seattle doing his analysis live on location. So it's going to be action packed.
He'll be the first one at the stadium, right?
We'll get there. 5. I've already got it mapped out, Ted. So the hotel I like to stay at in Seattle, there is a Starbucks that's on my walk to the stadium, and I looked at the forecast. It doesn't look like rain's going to be there, so I'll be able to walk. And I like to, especially at that hour, get the blood flowing, get the coffee going, work up maybe even a little bit of a sweat to kind of sort of, so when it's 6 a.m. and my body's not normally used to performing at 6 a.m., my body will already kind of have been brought to life. But there's a Starbucks that opens at 5 a.m., so I'll grab my coffee, probably be at the stadium about 5:15, and we'll be ready to roll probably with our first report around 6:05. So, and then and the game's not till 3:30. So it's a long day affair, and but it's all part of why you do this, and the juices get flowing, the excitement, the adrenaline, all of that is exciting. So it's a fun, action-packed week. But it's why we're in this business, and I can't wait for it.
And so I'm wondering if the Rams win Sunday, how that affects your life for the next 2 weeks. A lot?
Well, no. Win or lose, I'll go to the Super Bowl and I'll do the NFC. So, honestly speaking, if the Rams win, I don't root. I'd be happy.
No. But as far as your work is concerned,
that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't root. But if honestly speaking, if the Rams win, it makes my life easier in that
it's in your backyard.
I've been around the team more than I have the Seahawks. They're in my backyard, so I'm able to get up to the facility and do all the reporting and news gathering in person, which is a lot easier. But if the Seahawks win, then I'll be on the Seahawks for the Super Bowl. Okay. And we'll cover them and we'll do it just as excitedly and passionately and all the rest. So it's going to be a action-packed next 2 weeks, and it's going to be a lot of fun too.
And look who's joined us. Cris, meet Omar. Omar, meet Cris.
Cris, how are you, man?
Pleasure to meet you. you're just a little bit busy this time of year.
That's it, man. That's I always tell people, I joke, like I lift a lot of weights. I try to stay in shape because, like the week 16 or 17, I flew to Indianapolis. Week 18, I was there in Pittsburgh for that Baltimore Steelers showdown for the AFC North in the playoff spot. And then the wild card round, I was in New England for the Chargers Patriots game. So it's just kind of a lot of back and forth, cross country flights, working all day long. But like I said, a lot of passion, a lot of caffeine kind of fuels this time of year.
And Chris and I are feeling really, really crazy because you're the best dressed human who's ever been on this show. Right,
oh,
Chris?
thank you.
Look at that dapper look.
Well, you caught me on a day that I'm working in studio, so I'm fully dressed up.
Exactly.
Because you either get this, Omar, or when I'm not at work, I'm kind of like a beach bum. I play a lot of beach volleyball. That's one of my main hobbies. Beautiful. And so I'm either like beach bum or super dressed, not too much in between.
I got
I'm just happy to have come dressed. So
yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for that, Chris. I don't think I would have put you on stage if you weren't. Hey, before we continue on, a real quick note on our buddy Ron, who has not been doing well the last couple of weeks, and he's having a really tough time. And we just want to send along best wishes to our guy. I mean, I've known Ron since high school, and Chris, I don't know, I seriously doubt you've had a chance to talk to him in the last few days, but just our best wishes.
Yeah, he's getting better from what I understand, so that's good.
Yeah, day to day. And if anybody wants to send him a nice note, there's his Twitter page or X or whatever the hell you want to call it. Ron A. Sports. You could just send him a nice message there, and we miss him. We just hope everything's good, and maybe he'll be like smiling and semi-happy by the time we get to the Super Bowl. That's all of our goals. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about the coaching situation before we get to the games, guys. And Omar, your thoughts on the changes that have been made in the last couple of days. This was taken 2 days ago, so we can add another one onto the Ravens. Jesse Minter, not a surprise because of his connection to the Baltimore organization where he used to work.
Yeah, all these hires. I mean, at this time of year, everybody is saying the right things. The hirings are all, they're getting the guy that they set out for, and every coach and general manager are laying out their visions for the future and giving hope and optimism to the fan base, and
everything's perfect.
Everything's perfect. Yeah. So, I think as far as we're concerned at this point, that's 5 for 5 and great hires.
Exactly.
For these teams that have made these decisions. But I look at Stefanski, getting there in Atlanta and being able to work with a young quarterback and Michael Penix Jr. and trying to develop him. I'm excited to see that. Saleh said that he was, he found Nashville and the Tennessee Titans to be the most attractive job for him, and obviously Cam Ward, last year's #1 pick. Was a big part of that. So I think, building a great defense, I think we can all expect that from Saleh, no matter where he's been, but how he develops Cam Ward will be interesting. And then John Harbaugh seems like he already has, built-in talent there with Jackson Dart at quarterback. They already have a pretty good defense. Maybe all they needed was just kind of like a culture builder, culture fixer. And so I'm excited to see what he does in New York. And then, like I said, we aired the Jeff Hafley press conference live on NFL Network yesterday. And so, I was kind of fully engaged with that, listening to what he said. And, said all the right things. He comes with a good, reputation. But the Miami Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since December 30th, 2000. It's the longest drought in the NFL.
That's when Omar was 20, by the way.
Yeah, pretty dang close. Yeah, I was still in college at San Diego State.
There you go.
And so, the fact that they haven't won a playoff game since then, longest drought in the NFL, to do so, it's, it's to turn it around there, it takes a lot of work. So I'm excited to see what these guys do. Excited to see what the remaining teams like you have up there, the Raiders, the Browns, the Bills, the Cardinals, the Steelers, still looking for their coach, and how those searches unfold will be exciting as well.
Well, the
Yeah.
petition in Buffalo, a lot of people think they already had their coach and want to bring him back. From what I understand, there's a petition with a lot of signatures on it.
In
That
Buffalo.
that would be wild. It remind me of remember Bill Belichick was hired for like a day for the Jets, and then
Yes.
and then he left. We've seen crazy and bizarre in the NFL. But I saw the news today of Phillip Rivers interviewing for that Bills job, and Josh Allen is a part of those interviews. So that's an interesting nugget to this. Not
I
that
don't think, hey Omar, I don't think Josh wants him because if Philip walks in there, he's going to say, "Hey, guess what? I'm going after your job too."
That's hilarious. But I do think it's interesting because obviously we rarely see an MVP caliber quarterback have a head coach vacancy part of the organization. The last one I could think of was when Mike McCarthy was out in Green Bay and they brought Matt LaFleur in. It's just not that common. And now we have two open with the Bills and with the Ravens now being filled with Jesse Minter. But obviously that seemed to be a very attractive job. And like we were talking kind of off camera, Ted, it's any job with Josh Allen, is going to be very attractive. And the fact that he is sitting in on the interviews, I think no matter, big name quarterback, franchise quarterback, they're going to be consulted. They're going to be talked to regarding a coaching search in the process. But for him to be sitting in on it, I think is unique and also pretty cool that he's doing that.
Yeah, my 2 cents on the whole coaching thing, then we'll go on to the games. But I think Hafley is a soft hire with the Dolphins. He's an under 500 coach at Boston College, which obviously is not a great football program anyway, but still nothing to hang his hat on there. Did a really nice job the first season in Green Bay, but then things tailed off, and then he got his big guy from Dallas to fill the bill to say, we got a superstar now on defense, and he gets hurt and the defense fell apart. So I'm not blaming it on him, but I'm just saying, I don't think he'd be my first. And a defensive coach these days is also my second choice. Always want to look offense first, if possible. My issue with Harbaugh, too, is if he doesn't have a great offensive coordinator with the Giants, I don't know why they're going to be that much better. He's a great structure guy. He's a great organizational guy. But X's and O's, your opinion on that, Chris, we know, don't we?
Yeah, there's been his in-game management leaves a lot to be desired, but he commands the respect of his players, and he has the experience. So it's one leg up that he has, and he legitimately wants to be there, not settling to be there, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, that 4 of the 5 guys hired so far are defensive guys. That makes no sense to me in this day and age, the way the game is structured. Your thoughts on that, Omar?
Yeah, I think it's just a reflection of in previous cycles, the top dynamic play callers, scheme guys are getting snatched up and are head coaches already. Yeah. And so, a lot of these, like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, they call the plays already. So there's not a young up and coming offensive coordinator who is the head coach of the offense, so to speak. And so but I think, the cycle may turn with, like you said, all these defensive minded coaches becoming head coaches. And so now they'll have a structure in place where the offensive coordinator will be the play caller, will be the developer, and then we'll have a new crop of offensive coordinators who will be then head coaching candidates 2-3 years from now.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah, you would hope so. Yeah, for their organization's sake. Yes.
And here's one guy who didn't get a head coaching job, at least not yet. I guess he could still has that option that McDaniel signs as the OC for Jim Harbaugh, 2 of the most eccentric minds in the history of the world. That's going to be. I can't wait to hang out with those 2 guys for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah,
exactly.
Great personalities, and But I think McDaniel, the way he likes to run the football and runs an efficient offense. I think when you think about the offense and when the Dolphins were at their best, and how efficiently it was, how fast that offense was, and now you throw the talents of Justin Herbert into that sort of mix, it's like, wow, that has a really good potential to be something special for the Chargers. Because I think the way Harbaugh runs the team, runs the organization, how he's proven himself to be in the NFL, they're going to be contenders year in and year out.
And it just goes to show you that you can have great stats here, like they did in Buffalo, and it still doesn't keep your job secure, does it? Look at these numbers.
Unreal.
That's
Yeah,
really
Sean McDermott's a great coach. I think
yeah.
we saw
defense guy, though. Remember, another
defensive guy, but you remember the Damar Hamlin, health crisis, how he navigated that, how he led the organization through that was phenomenal. That's it's a master class in leadership, and I think who he is as a leader is kind of reflective of those numbers there. But ultimately, in this day and age, it's all about the Super Bowl. Yep. And so when you have a transcendent quarterback like Josh Allen, obviously there's high amount of pressure, and they're looking for change there now. Have
you heard any names, any teams that are interested in him? Because I haven't heard his name mentioned since he was let go.
No, yeah, good question. I haven't. The question will be, does he want to coach this year?
That's true.
And after all of the emotional toll that can take, and hearing how that locker room, sort of was in shambles emotionally after that loss in Denver. I'm sure McDermott, sort of from an emotional standpoint, may need a year to gather himself. And there's no question, kind of like Vrabel, if Tomlin wanted to, that after a year out, he would be a top candidate going into the next year's coaching cycle. But so it's a good question, but I think maybe that's the fact that we haven't heard his name too much is probably more of his decision to maybe want to take a step back, at least here in the next few weeks.
All right, let's get into the games this weekend. Championship weekend. It's as good as it gets. In some ways, it's much better than expectations for a Super Bowl. But this weekend is a little bit different because what's going on, you got the number 1 and 2 seed in the AFC. Neither one expected even necessarily to make the playoffs when the season started. So go figure, and you got a backup quarterback in Jarrett Stidham starting for Denver at home. We're going to get into that second. I want to make sure I get the most out of Omar on the Rams and Seahawks. So let's talk about that situation first. Look at Matthew Stafford, an MVP candidate this year. Just your thoughts on that. I think he's had an unbelievable year, more specifically, Omar, because remember, in training camp, we didn't even know if his back was going to be allowed to play.
It's been unreal to see Stafford play at this elite level. And you just think about how good the Rams have been this year. You look at the Philadelphia game.
Yeah.
You look at the Carolina game. The Carolina regular season game. You look at the 49ers Thursday night football game. In other words, their losses were they either had fourth quarter leads, they were tied, they went to overtime. In 4 of the 5 games, they could have won. And obviously they still won 12 games in the regular season because of Matthew Stafford's play. And I think for me, he's the MVP, even though Drake may finish with a little better record. But the clutch, the leadership that Stafford had on display kind of brings that whole organization together. And oftentimes, and we've seen it in the playoffs, him just kind of throw the team on his back and find a way to get wins and lead these game-winning drives. And just been sensational. And I think for him to do so at this age and be in position to be the oldest player ever to win his first MVP here in a few weeks, I think says a lot about his season and who he is as a player in terms of all-time discussions. I think I remember when he got traded from Detroit to LA and even just in covering him when he was in Detroit and the respect and the reverence that defenses talk about him was something that always stood out with me. That they may have been lousy teams in Detroit some of those years, and whether he was having a down year or not, the way defenders talked about him and how good he actually was, and then for it to come to life pairing with Sean McVay and how they've consistently won has been something. And I think one of the things I asked him about, and of course he deflected it because he's one of those team player guys and just humble and all that, but in December, January, and February, since he's been with the Rams, he's 24-6.
Wow.
That's phenomenal. That's, winning 4 out of 5 games when the season's on the line, when the games mean the most. And that's like Tom Brady type of stuff. And so, you factor in, if he wins this game, he'll be in his second Super Bowl, perhaps win a second Super Bowl. You got to start having this, where is he in the all-time discussion? And might be a top 10, top 15 type of guy. And I think he's proven that this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Omar, you should know that Cris is a Detroit native and a Lions fan. He bleeds blue. So you got Stafford coming out of his ears right now.
Well, as you know, the fans really love Stafford there. We all wished him the best and happy to see his success elsewhere when he's not playing the Lions. But, this isn't a matter of it like the Oscars and he's up for, a Best Actor award and give it to him on resume. He legitimately had a solid year. And nobody had a better year than he did this year. So it's great to see him get I'm sure he'll get that MVP next week.
Okay, hopefully my video is good. It freezes sometimes. Please work for us today. It's the least you could do. Let's hear from Matthew Stafford real quick. I got a couple of seconds with him this week.
We always do, right? Try to play fast, try to play physical, play aggressive, and we got to go execute. That's what it's going to take. You're going up against a great defense, in their home environment where it's really difficult to play, and we've done it, a couple times already this year. Played these guys, and I'm sure they'll have something different for us, like it always is the case. But how do we adapt? How do we continue to execute and play at a high level, and go out there and see what happens?
Matthew, the last couple of years, Seattle's defense has improved just drastically, right? So, what do you see as the biggest challenge right now, and how they have grown over the past, let's say, even 2 seasons to be one of the best?
Yeah, I think they have great personnel. When you look at it, top to bottom, they've got depth. They've got, quote unquote star power guys that are, really huge difference makers within games. And I think they're really well coached. The more time you get into a system, obviously, the better you can be. And those guys are doing a hell of a job. I think Ernest is playing at an all-time level and playing great in the middle. So, he's kind of running the show for those guys. And the front's great, secondary's great. You look at it, they're really well-rounded defense.
Yeah, they really are. And bottom line there, Omar, is the fact that this is the third time they're playing each other. We're going to hear from a few more Rams in a moment, but that makes it even better. This rivalry is getting ugly, and the way it should be at this time of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I think Stafford will do his part. He'll show up to play, and I think that the key of the game will be how Sam Darnold plays, because you look at the turnover battle in those 2 games, as tight as they were. The turnover battle was dramatically in favor of the Rams. The Seahawks turning the ball over 7 times to the Rams once, and so that, I think, is a reflection of how good the Seahawks are. That these games were close in spite of that dramatic turnover difference. So if the Rams can continue to affect Sam Darnold and force him to turn the ball over, then they'll be right there in it, and Matthew Stafford will put him in position to win it. But as we saw on Saturday with the Seahawks, when they are rolling and they take care of the football and they play how they're designed to play, they can put teams away. And they didn't just do it against the 49ers; they did it all season long. And so the key will be if the Rams can affect Sam Darnold the way they have the last couple opportunities.
And Davante Adams with just a sensational catch after about as sensational a throw by Stafford in that game at Chicago. This set up the win when you look at it.
Yeah, it was interesting hearing Stafford talk about that this week. He said out of his hand, he's like, oh, there's no way he's going to be able to catch that in bounds, once he saw where Davante was, where the defender was, where the sideline was. But Davante Adams, as spectacular as there's been, somebody with the foot control on the sidelines.
Yeah,
and you just think you heard them say last week, Ted, about how hard the balls were in those freezing environments. For him to catch a dart like that and then have the presence of mind to get his feet down, just the whole thing, like you mentioned, the throw, the catch, just what a work of art that play was.
Okay, and I got the first question in for Davante in his news conference, and they ended up using it on your show, which is the least they could do.
Let's go.
This game, I got to ask you, 5th NFC title game, no Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So How big is this baby? This is not just another week, right?
It's not. Yeah, I've been here quite a few times, and I think I've made mention to you guys a few times, like, forgive me if I'm not smiling ear to ear after the first win or the second win. Just haven't been here so many times and understanding exactly what it takes to, get where we're ultimately trying to go. So it's obviously exciting to achieve, the minor goals along the way that you ultimately need to do to get where you want to be. But yeah, it just feels like almost like a mythical thing to me at this point. Like you do everything you can to get there, and it's been so hard and been working so hard at it. So we're close. We just got to finish it.
Close, but no cigar yet. And, guys, yesterday I was in the locker room trying to grab a couple of players just for whatever interview I can get, a couple of minutes. I ended up getting 12, more than I need. That's why I didn't go today. So there's no need to be there. And they're sick of seeing me anyway. But I saw Davante as he was getting ready to leave, and I stopped. We talked for a couple of minutes. And I said, that thing you mentioned to me about, it's 2 wins. And I said, that reminds me of the Kobe, job's not done yet and job's not finished. And that was my question to Kobe that set up all that craziness. And he got a real kick out of that. And he wanted to hear the story and the whole thing. I said, just win, baby. Who cares about all this crap?
Yeah, he didn't know that you were the one that asked that.
No, I wouldn't expect him
that's awesome.
to know.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so we had fun with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but Davante's such a cool guy, isn't he? I mean, to deal with the
for being a superstar, and,
exactly.
The first player in NFL history to lead the league in receptions with 3 different teams, and just he's sort of etched his career in, I think, Canton one day. To be just how he is as a leader, how he is in the locker room, how he is behind the scenes, and how he treats people. Yeah, just all class all the way. Yeah, and I'm sure every team, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Rams, they all have those players where it's like a longtime veteran who hasn't gone to the Super Bowl. And certainly if the Rams were to pull this out on Sunday, Davante will be one of those players that gets celebrated for those 2 weeks in the lead up. How cool would it be to see Davante Adams hoist the Lombardi?
Yeah, and I was a little disappointed in the strategy of the last game from a running standpoint. I thought the Rams would run the ball a hell of a lot more. Real quick, hearing from Coach McVay that I asked him about this.
Coach, looking back on the last game, how much have you looked at you might have wanted to run the ball more and how that's going to be an advantage all the way through this?
Talking about against the Bears?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I thought, hey, better late than never, right? So
exactly.
I think our guys did a good job executing. We were at our best when we had to be. There was a lot of things that we can learn from, and we'll have to be on the screws and be sharper throughout, starting with myself, if we expect to do what we want to do. It is about, good execution, good fundamentals. They're a great team, and they're great in all 3 phases. We'd like to think when we're humming and we're at our best, we're pretty good too. And so, we've been in this situation a couple times where, in the 21 season, we played the Niners in the NFC Championship, and then we played Seattle actually a 3rd time in the COVID years. So it's been similar where we played 2 playoff teams, or 2 divisional teams in the playoffs, but it's going to be a great opportunity for us. We're excited.
I want to squeeze in a couple more before we have to let Omar go, because he has 75 other jobs. and whatever works. I got a one-on-one with Blake Corum yesterday, the running back for the Rams, who's getting a lot of more touches. It was just 2 years ago that I used to see him in camp, and I said, you should write the sequel to Give Me the Damn Ball, because he never touched it, right? But here he is, and he's a really good kid. I really like him.
My favorite stat of this series, against Seattle, they have stopped opposition, no TDs in the last 2 games. They've done that twice this year, the only team in the league to do that. I want to know, how the hell do you guys score 58 points in 2 games against them? That's pretty impressive stuff.
Executing at a high level, minimum penalties.
Yeah.
Playing our style ball.
Yeah.
And, it's when 2 great teams, go against each other, we believe, we're the number 1 offense in the league. They have a top-tier defense, and, we just go at it. So it's, whoever executes the best during that game.
I asked Sean this week about, don't you think it would have been advantageous to run the ball a little more in the last game. And he says, I think I learned from that, basically. So, I mean, maybe you're going to get even more touches in this game. Of course, you never know how the game's going to go.
Yeah, 100%. You know, anytime, you know, we have the opportunity to touch the ball, we want the ball, right? But, you know, we play the game how it's called.
Yeah.
You know, execute whatever play is called and do our very best. And, you know, that's what we're going to do this game.
Okay, everything's one game at a time, but this is one huge game at a time. Okay, can you embrace where this can lead you to the next one?
100%. This is, you know, do or die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 games left. Whoever makes it, and we really, you know, believe, you know, we're the team that can, you know, finish what we set out to do. But like you said, it's one game at a time. You know, we have 2 more practices before, you know, we play Sunday. And so, you know, we just have to go out there, be where our feet are, execute, and, you know, get ready for Sunday so we can get to that next game.
And last thing, I talked to 2 of your tight ends, right? To have a 3 tight end set against that defense, then have you and Kyron in the back and Pook and Devontae. I mean, that team's spinning their head. Like, what's coming?
Yeah, you know, we have a good game plan installed. You know, whether it be 11, 12, or 13, you know, we can do it all. And, you know, it's a beautiful sight to see when, you know, like I said, when we play complementary ball and execute at a high level.
Enjoy and embrace the hell out of the moment, sir.
I appreciate it.
Stay healthy.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's Kyron. I'm sorry, that's Blake Corum, and with Kyron Williams. They one of the better 1-2 punches in the league right now, Omar.
Yeah, the way that Blake Corum really came on in the second half of the season and kind of made that running attack even more dynamic and took some of the pressure off of Kyron Williams, preserved his body so he can be more impactful at this time of year. And I think especially when you consider now with Zach Charbonnet being hurt, that the Rams might go into this game with an advantage in the running attack. And obviously they'll have to play well. They'll have to execute like Corum said, but that's something that can even add to their confidence heading into Sunday.
Okay, and so the weather, not too bad, you know, in the low 40s. Wind's not supposed to be a factor, maybe a little rain, but nothing Seattle typical stuff, right? So
yeah, no mist.
Yeah. So talk about, before we let you go, 12th man situation, how loud it is there during the game. I will get into a little more interviews after we leave you. Don't take it personally. And also, also the fact that Seattle has an extra day rest this week, which doesn't hurt this time of the year.
Oh, and absolutely. Yeah. So there are a few advantages, you know, the home field advantage, you know, those 12s are raucous and loud. And the anecdote I always share is I was there on a Monday night during the Legion of Boom heyday.
Yeah.
Cliff Averill comes around the edge, does a strip sack on Drew Brees and the Saints. Michael Bennett scoops it up, scores. The place just absolutely explodes. It was, as loud as you could ever imagine. And I remember standing next to, one of the cops that are there with the security. Yeah. And, I'm shouting into her ear and we could not hear each other. And it was unbelievable how loud it was. And so that's what the Rams were walking into. But, talking to Coleman Shelton on Wednesday, the Rams center, he was like, well, obviously they're not calling the plays. They're not executing the plays right after the crescendo of a crowd exploding. It kind of calms down a little bit. And then he said, technically you're the farthest from the crowd in the middle of the field. So he's like, you are able to hear. You have to, just like in every other aspect of the game, the nonverbal communication has to be executed well.
Perfect.
And that's what they practice all year for.
Yeah.
They make sure that they look at each other's eyes or read lips if they can't hear the best, ask each other. A lot of communication involved there. But yeah, it is. But for all those reasons, it is a home field advantage for the Seahawks, but one that the Rams are capable of navigating.
And real quick on the Denver-New England matchup, just your overall thoughts on that game with the dynamics of a guy who hasn't thrown a pass in a few years is absolutely crazy with the season on the line here, but that's the way it is. And you know what? He is handpicked to be as the backup guy by Sean Payton. So that's why he's here.
Yeah, and he's been in that system for 3 years. And so I think he'll know the playbook. Sean Payton knows him. Yep. And I just think back to the latter half of the Sean Payton time with the Saints, in that whenever Drew Brees got banged up, whether it was, formulating a game plan around Taysom Hill or when Jameis Winston was there, they always found ways to win. They won more games than they lost because of Sean Payton's abilities to get the most out of his other quarterbacks. And I think that'll be the case here. I think the Patriots are more than capable of coming into Denver and winning that game. But if the Broncos lose, it won't be because of Jarrett Stidham. That's how I believe. And I follow these guys on Instagram and social media and everything. And this is just something I've noticed over the years, is that Jarrett Stidham is beloved in that locker room. The way he hangs out with the offensive linemen and the way, he has organized, throwing sessions in the summer when Nick's got drafted, and, a rookie's not necessarily going to come in and organize throwing sessions. So it was Stidham that was doing that. And they sort of, rally around Stidham, even as a backup, and just who he is as a person, I think they're fans of. So I think for all those reasons, Stidham in this one-game environment will play well. The defense that Denver has is so good, takes the pressure off of a quarterback. And for all the reasons that Bo Nix has become, a star in 2 years, those are the reasons why Stidham will play well, because a good defense, good running game, good weapons around him. All that said, New England is good, and there'll be a force and a factor. So just can't wait for that matchup as well.
Yeah, my biggest concern is play clean, because you haven't played in a long time.
Yeah.
That's don't drop the ball. I mean, that stuff happens.
Yeah,
you're rusty.
Absolutely, especially the conditions that you mentioned, the 20s and 30s.
Yeah,
it should be clear, but still,
it's gonna be cold.
A cold ball will be something to navigate, but again, I think he'll be ready.
And whoever wins that game, they're going to be a pretty good size underdog for the Super Bowl. Anyway,
I'd imagine, right? Yeah. Seahawks, Rams, really have been the two best teams consistently all year throughout the NFL, and I don't think that'll change what we're thinking after Sunday.
Okay, I got to let you go. So tell everybody where they could see you today and the next several years. No.
Well, we'll be on NFL Network here today. The Insiders is on at 4:00 Pacific time.
Yep.
They'll be running our Kobe Turner one-on-one from Wednesday, and then starting at 6 a.m. on NFL Network, NFL Game Day morning. We'll have 6 hours of pregame show ahead of the AFC Showdown, and obviously all the reports for the Rams, Seahawks, Patriots, and Broncos.
I will be watching, sir. And have a fantastic day. Hopefully see you out at camp next week.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll talk to you later,
right.
Ted. Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice
All right, have a good one. That's Omar Ruiz
Thank
of the
you.
NFL Network. Appreciate it, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, so what do you think, Chris? We got to talk about an insight from the insider on the Insider Show there, huh?
Yeah, it's always nice to have these people that are out of our immediate hemisphere in that world, discuss a handful of topics.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get back into the Rams situation. I got a few more interviews I want to play. Let's hear from Puka Nacua after practice yesterday, and he's always an interesting character. Sometimes he's in the mood to not say much, so you got to drag it out of him. So watch how he try.
The number one offense against the number one defense. I mean, how great of a matchup is this under the circumstances for the whole ball of wax?
I think everybody who's a fan of the game that we play will be super excited to see what happens on Sunday.
What about you?
You couldn't have it any other way. Like you said, number one versus number one, the opportunity to go back there and just play against Seattle in the way that the playoffs work out and how it all has turned out is it's a fairy tale ending to a great season that has already been.
Because Seattle has given up no touchdowns in the last two games, and they did it another time this year, back-to-back games. And you guys have scored 58 points in 2 games. How does that happen? I mean, how good are you guys offensively to do that?
I think we're very confident in our group. I think the leader that we have in number 9 is his ability to lead us, and for everybody to have great trust in whenever he puts that ball up, that there's going to be a way for you to come down, and I think he's going to put it for you to make a play. And we feel very confident on the other side of the ball, and that they're going to give us the opportunity to go out there and make plays, and we need to capitalize in the moments that we know are critical in the football game, and we're excited for those challenges. There are going to be moments in this game that are going to come down to third and short, and it's about the physicality. And there are a few moments where you get to line up and say everybody knows where this ball is going to end up in the game of football. There are so many different possibilities in our offense. We try to keep them guessing as best as we can, but we know we're gonna have our chin strap buckle and we're gonna be ready to dominate the line of scrimmage. And I think that will be a difference for us in this game.
Okay, so there's Puka, and you know what? Physicality is his game. If you watch him play, he's got a little bit of Christian McCaffrey in him. It's nonstop, battery ram. We're going to run you over no matter what the hell happens. I'm going to give up my body, which is probably going to shorten his career. But separate from that, I want that guy on my team. That's all I want.
It's funny. I was listening to Colin Cowherd this morning, and during the, for the big games, he actually pulls out the 10 best players.
Okay.
And goes, counts them down 10-1, which is kind of neat to see, how many from each team.
Right.
And he ended up picking Nakua as the the best player in this game, which was kind of surprising. The guy's only been in the year, and Stafford's the obvious pick.
Yeah, of course.
He said basically the same thing you did. This guy's a tough MFer.
Yep. Yes.
And he really contests everything, and he owns you. He's a physical guy, and so you're not alone in those thoughts, Ted.
Yeah, but just the importance of having a guy on your team like that, knowing he's going to go all out every play, every second of every play. I mean, would you like to have like 3 or 4 more of those guys?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have those players.
Yeah. So how have you looked at the game from a betting standpoint, Chris, as far as your value, if there is any either way, and the way you set the line originally?
Well, it's the thing Seattle has to worry about is the Rams have, played pretty darn well against them. And Seattle's not able to get away with certain things with the Rams that they're able to get away with other teams. So they match up pretty identical. I think they've scored identical amount of points and have 1 yard separating them. Yep. So it's amusing that way. But I think that Seattle's really only playing one team, and that's themselves. If they can not beat themselves, I think that they're the better team. So I think it's a pretty solid pick with Seattle, but we just know with these 2 teams, it probably goes down to the wire.
Yeah, my concern with the Rams is the fact that they've gotten away with a few lucky breaks in this series. When they intercepted Darnold 4 times in L.A., the game I was at.
Yeah,
and Seattle still almost won at the final kick, although it was like it was a 60-yarder or something, so it wasn't likely. But still, that they even had a chance in that game puts them in a really good spot here. But here's the other thing: if you can score 58 points in 2 games against them, you also have their number to a point where they're not even concerned about the Seattle D. It's like we know we can score against them, and they're very, very good, and they're a standout defense. But we've already done this against them. So there's both ways of looking at it.
I'm sure both teams have a mutual respect for each other and also a good deal of confidence. So,
yep.
It's going, when you really think about it, the 4 teams left are a great selection of what happened this season. And it's
good point.
And it's great to not have at least one team that doesn't belong in there that seems to get in there every year.
Right.
So I'm excited to watch these games. It's going to be down to an error or 2 or a single play or 2 that should make the difference in this game. They're that close, but I'll correct that. It'll somehow end up looking that way, but I think just Seattle's a lot more well-rounded, and statistically, I think that it's not having to give away a full field goal here is a bargain. But I know a lot of sharps and handicappers like the Rams, and the money lines on both of these games are getting bet down on both of the dogs. So
interesting. Okay, let's hear from Jared Verse, the standout defensive player of the Rams, who he really is looking forward to this. said, baby, this really is a rivalry, and we don't like that team. That's for sure.
It's the NFC Championship. Like, you got to really get out there. But I just did a little extra cardio and everything like that. But, the energy's just different this week. Obviously, you always want to get out there. You want to win every game, but this is a big one.
Considering what's on the line, do you think about the way you attack Darnold and their offense maybe in a different way and try not to get too ahead of yourself, get caught up in the moment kind of a thing?
I don't think we attack them any differently than we attack anybody else. That's just us. The way we do things is just how we are. So we're not going to change anything up. Obviously, they got plays that we might add this play in to attack this play or that, but overall, all in all, we're just who we are.
As much as you want to go, this is one game at a time, this is one huge game at a time, do you get thinking about that at all? Like, okay, let's enjoy this moment because we don't get it very often.
Yeah, no, actually a good friend of mine told me, I always tell everybody I'm always focused on this game, the next, whatever. He told me just focus on this is your last game.
Okay.
This could be the last game of the season. Whether it's a regular season game or not, it could be your last game ever, however things go in your life. So you just got to focus on this is the last game. And you win that, you get the opportunity to play at the big one. But that's just my focus personally, and I echo that to my room.
Well, there you go. There's Jared Verse. He's a really smart guy. I love talking to him, and cerebral to the point where, he usually tells you how he truly feels. And you don't get that from everybody, Chris, as you know.
No, you don't. It's nice to have the candor that you get from some of these players nowadays.
Yeah, speaking of candor, one more one-on-one interview. The third of the three-headed tight end monster for the Rams, Davis Allen, the least known of everybody, but he was great. I saw him in front of his locker. We talked for a minute, and I said, I got to get you on tape, baby. So here's my couple of minutes with Davis Allen, the tight end of the Rams.
I want to ask you about the three tight end set and what that does, because a lot of teams they don't have the personnel to do that, first of all, right? How does that affect the offense, do you think?
I think it just opens up just a bunch of different avenues that we can, use. I think it helps us not be one-dimensional.
Right.
I think it just gives us more options on the field. We can run the ball or we can pass it. We can do both. If you can do that at a high level, I think you're helping the team overall, which is the goal.
Okay, so when you got the two-headed monster like Puka and Devontae too, right?
Oh, yeah.
The way you guys can open it up and they can open it up,
yeah.
I don't want to be the defense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. It's nice when you have two superstars like that, to where maybe defenses have to key on them a little bit more than usual, and then that might allow us to do some more stuff with the tight ends. And I think we just we complement each other really well.
Yeah.
Which I think is what you ultimately want. And so it's great having them out on the edge, because they're gonna catch the ball, they're gonna make great plays in the air, but they're also willing to block too. So really, you can use them as tight ends as well. They're just as good. So it's great to have multiple options.
And my stat of the week is Seattle's at back-to-back games, not allowing any TDs. They've done that twice this year. No other team has done that. So it's the number one offense against the number one scoring defense. How the hell did you guys score 58 in 2 games against them? That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
They have a great defense. They really do.
But you guys have a great offense.
We do. We got a great offense, and they got some studs on that side as well. But I don't know. I think like what you just said, like just having options all over the field, I think that just really helps us complement each other, and that's a headache for defense. And so when you're able to do stuff like that, it gives you it just makes the defense have to prep for more stuff. And so, but like I said, they have a great defense. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
And last thing, you got to be thinking in the back of your mind, this is the greatest chance of my life to do something that a lot of players never even had an opportunity of having, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Embrace that?
Absolutely, yeah. I was talking to my wife about it last night. Just
really?
What a cool opportunity to even say
exactly.
I was one game away from the Super Bowl, much less be able to have the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl and have a chance to win the whole thing, to be a world champ. That's something special. It helps you keep the right perspective. And it's a blessing for sure.
Enjoy it, man.
Yes,
good luck. Stay healthy.
All All right, so that's Davis Allen, tight end. Sorry for the noise. We were
Yeah,
about
Ted, you got to turn off your boom box that you bring with you when you're doing these.
We're about 5 feet away from a giant speaker on the floor, and that's in front of his locker. We couldn't move. There was no other place, so hopefully it came out. But that's why I did a closer up so you can read his lips better. But anyway, bottom line, these guys are psyched, and you get a little feel for what's going on over there, Chris, inside the room, right?
Yeah, bad music.
and by the way, here's a couple of seconds of camp.
And here we are at Rams practice. And there's Coach telling his assistants we need to do better so we don't have to come down to the final seconds. And that was to shut me up immediately.
I'm only allowed to take a little of this because they don't want, hey, we're going to send the offensive plays to whomever, right?
Hey, come on, work.
You'll see Matthew Stafford coming in a second. So quick little feel for what camp looks like. Getting ready for the big game.
Here we go. Let's go.
2 more seconds here of Stafford. Here's Matthew in the red. That's for you, Chris. All right, so there's your practice shot right there, and what do you think? Are you going to? By the way, what's that?
They look pretty loose there.
Oh, they're very loose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're loose and they're confident. You know what? I think there's also something about how they've won the last couple of games too. There's just so much. They're in that we're going to find whatever it takes to win mode. Sort of like the Bears were, and they did do that, except for win. They're right. I mean, they came down to they could have won.
Well, I'm kind of concerned with the Rams. They just seem to be kind of coming. They seem to have peaked a little bit. They've been kind of their defense has been letting them down lately. Stafford hasn't been as crisp and sharp. So,
right.
But they didn't look tired in those practices.
No, not at all. And, and part of the crisp and sharpness, I think Stafford's worst game maybe been his last game. But, the conditions, you're not going to have too many quarterbacks looking fat. I mean, Caleb wasn't great. He just had a couple of incredible throws.
Well, that was planned, that last one.
Oh, that was in the script. But here's how even these two teams are right here, except for the turnovers. And that's everything. I even mentioned a couple of the guys who should be wearing T-shirts that say play clean and protect the damn ball like it's your baby.
They should make them wear Seattle turnover jerseys.
Or Apple turnovers with a Darnold head on top. I mean, it's been all about if Darnold doesn't throw an interception, it's a whole different season when you think about it, right?
So who's your pick?
I'm actually leaning towards the Rams because they've figured out the Seattle D, but it's a total toss-up game. I would like to get 3 points on the road, but is that ever going to happen? I don't think so, right?
It's not looking like it's going to come back.
Exactly. Yeah, I would like that. What do you think as far as the OUs are concerned?
I'm not sure on that one.
Okay.
It just we know from experience that they can just go either way.
Right. Well, here's the lines as of yesterday on DraftKings for both sides. And I think, is there anything else you want to add to this game? Because I want to get a little more into the Denver-New England matchup before we wrap this baby up.
No, that's all I have to say. I like Seattle in the game. It's
you doing the money line as well on that?
Pardon?
Are you doing the money line as well on that game?
Oh yeah, it's your best money line price right now is you can get down to 134 right now.
Oh, not bad.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. How about if you would have made a bet early in the year that it would be Denver and New England in the AFC title game, what do you think the odds were on that baby?
Heavy.
How can I get some action in now on that or on those early numbers?
I can't see what's on the screen. Is that what you have posted or just regular line?
No. That's just the game odds.
Yeah, I don't have those numbers, but it would have been really long just because of the New England side of it.
It would have been nice either side just to make the playoffs, especially New England, right?
Well, no, Denver was expected.
Well, I don't know about expected, but they were one of the teams on the bubble. We thought that Kansas City would come off a little bit, not as much as they did, of course. But New England has been fascinating this year, and Drake May has been either like really good or really young looking, not knowing what to expect out of him. And he's going up against a very, very solid defense. Just your thoughts on that in itself.
Well, I just think that, he shows a real maturity when things do start to go south. He shakes it away.
Yeah.
It's a real sign of leadership when you're able to do that. We spoke about it in the past, how Trevor Lawrence would just sit there and pout, or Aaron Rodgers would scowl and, scream at his teammates. I don't have the personality to let errors and mistakes rub off me that quick. And so I admire people that are able to.
Yeah. But you're talking about going up against the team who led by far in sacks during the season, 71. I think the next closest team was 14 behind. I mean, that is a huge gap.
And I think New England had the fewest sacks in the AFC, didn't they?
That I'm not sure. I am not sure. But what about this Patriots turnaround here and what Vrabel has done? I mean, we all thought that he was a good fit there, but in 1 year to turn it around like this is really something. And it's always the caveat, though, right? Softest schedule maybe in the history of the world to get here. But now they're still doing it, and they're still here.
Yeah, but you knew something was going on with this team with some of those veteran player cuts that they had before the season even started.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think
it was cleaning house time, right?
There was a lot of players that were expected to be there were just cast aside. So, I mean, we thought that they were going to be going in with a skeleton crew.
Yeah.
But, when you're going in with that attitude and you change the culture, good things happen to you. So when you have a leader and quarterback and, the team looks like they've been in these situations before.
Yeah, really, it's surprising to me. I mean, yes, a lot of that is from their coach, but they're a young team, and I just didn't expect them to get this far because of who they beat during the regular season. But it's a much softer AFC this year too, which helps, of course. And they didn't have to face Josh Allen when it mattered. But bottom line is that both teams, they earn the right to be here. They don't get by accident. I love this this Twitter. Can you read that there from Nick Foles? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I was just reading that.
It's pretty funny. I love the fact that he's talking from the sidelines here, just having a blast with the Broncos and with the situation here. One of the things about Denver also is they will be dealing with a slight advantage because they're used to the elevation. We never know how that's going to affect the team. If you get used to it early and then later in the game, it might affect you differently. I remember talking to Kobe Bryant and other guys who had to play in Denver for just a quick in and out game. Your thoughts on that? I mean, you never know what's going to be a factor.
Well, when you're there on the road doing interviews, I mean, does it get tough on you near the end of the interview?
No, no, but I'm not running around like they are.
Well, you do get pretty winded easy in these interviews.
I got a big mouth. I can handle it. But anyway, I mean, do you think that's a factor at all? Or is it just something like, we'll hear about it after the fact?
Oh, no, it's a factor. It's something that hits the players probably at the end of the game the most. So,
right.
And with the crowd noise that they get there, they have a true home field advantage.
Oh,
there.
no doubt.
So I just don't think Denver's as crippled as people think they are. I've got the perspective that, if you're Denver, if you're New England better, you're just getting robbed. It's so unfair that this line is over 3.
Right.
But technically, it does, they should win that game. My numbers say that New England should win the game, but I think Denver's in far better shape than people realize. I think that they'll run their normal offense. I don't think they're going to play tight at all. I think they'll be focused, and if New England doesn't come to play, I think New England's got to play their best game, and they really do.
Yeah. Again, it comes down to both sides playing clean, and Jarrett Stidham, without any real games in the last couple of years. That's just so much to ask of a guy. You're going to try and play smart in this game. You're going to maybe a lot of short stuff, and then who knows what happens. It's going to be 19 degrees. Wind is not supposed to be a factor at all. So thank God for that, because otherwise, who knows how that would affect it. But maybe a little bit of snow, probably not, again, a big deal in the game. But, when you got a guy like Stidham, and it looks like everybody's got the confidence in him, they're paying him a lot of money to be the backups, Chris.
Yeah, but it's a very important position. It's and if you've got a guy that's been in there, that's familiar with everything, and the play, he's very well liked too.
Yep.
He's got to feel comfy, cozy there. Quite frankly, I don't think the team is all that worried either. I think they're comfortable. I think, isn't Bridgewater their backup now though?
I don't even remember. It could be Phillip Rivers any minute. Who knows?
I think Bridgewater is the backup, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, again, you hope that's not even an issue in the game. But, to me, you run the ball a lot for Denver, and their run game has not been the best that it's been over the years. So how do you see that fitting into this baby?
No, I think they're going to play aggressive, frankly.
Okay.
I think they'll attack the secondary. They're going to try to run, obviously, but I think they're going to have some surprises up their sleeve that they better be, ready for.
Yeah. So what are you doing in this game?
We
got any teases going on?
Yeah, well, I got both. I got both sides. I'm leaning mine toward New England.
Okay.
But I'm worried. I just don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think Denver backers are getting a gift here with this many points.
Right.
It's hard to explain it, but they just do not. They think that they're more crippled than they are with in the quarterback situation, and they're not.
Right. Yeah, I just have a feeling that both of these games are going to be close, and there's one deal about the Denver game that concerns me a little bit, and that is, is New England's defense, are they going to really show up against this squad and put more pressure on Stidham? I want to see that pass rush.
Well, New England's defense has improved. Throughout.
I'm talking about the pass rush side of it, though.
He's probably going to have time, frankly, but they don't. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I just think that's a real key in this game. If you put pressure on him in this one, it's been so long since he's been trying to get into a flow. As I mentioned to Omar earlier, my concern with him is I think he's going to be fine, but will he play clean because of the rustiness? Yeah,
I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, no problem. Just play once every 2 years.
The guy's been playing every week. He's got more energy than anybody probably.
Okay, you talk me into it. Oh, that's funny. You said you got both sides on the tees?
Yeah, because it was easy to see that this line was going to come down. There's a first 3.5 popping up at DraftKings.
Okay.
So, but I've been taking, bets from other sports into the best lines available.
Right.
Because there's been some gift lines on the alt lines. So.
Oh, okay.
But I like the model. Really like Seattle, and it is right on the border with New England.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, look, it's really going to be a fun weekend, and I think both of these games are fascinating stories in their own right. Any way you look at it, you got the first one starting at noon Pacific time. The Pats of the Broncos, the Rams and Seahawks later at 3:30 Pacific time, because that's the only time that matters. Nobody cares about the Eastern time. I didn't even know it existed. I thought E.T. was a movie. I didn't know what E.T. stood for. But anyway.
Do you know who did E.T.'s voice?
I used to, but I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Deborah Winger.
Really? Okay, that's wild. Unbelievable. You just you have a little bit of knowledge about everything and a lot about very little else, right?
Yes.
That's just
plethora
like
of useless knowledge.
So give us a thought before the weekend starts, what your potential lines will be for the Super Bowl here. Can you give that?
If the
always loves hearing about that before it happens, before we wrap up this baby.
Seattle faces Denver, the line would be 9, 8 or 9, and then if Seattle faces New England, under a touchdown, like -5 or 6.
Okay.
And I think the Rams would be about 7.5 over Denver and 4.5 over New England.
Only 4.5. I'm surprised.
No, wait a minute.
I thought that would be over 6 easy.
I know that these lines are out already, but I was trying to give my lines.
Right. Yeah, no, I want to hear your lines. Forget I'm sure there are lines out there now that people can touch whatever they want. Because we're going to look back on this in another week and say, okay, a little comparison action.
Oh.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
I can't find what lines are out there at the moment. But wait a minute, maybe over here.
Just setting up some of nice messages from our viewers. We appreciate it always. And again, if you have an opportunity, please send a nice note to Ron at his Twitter page, and just wish him well. And hopefully he'll be back to close to 100% soon. And here's it's at Ron A Sports on X. So there you go for that.
Okay, we're good, right?
We're good. Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate it. Take care, Ron, wherever you may be. We know you'll be listening soon. And Chris, good luck this weekend. All right, man.
Aloha.
Take care.